In this Multiversus video, we're going to talk about the best perks to use with Batman in Multiversus. You can see I have a notification sitting here ready and waiting. It says you've got new perks to train. I'm going to first select the collection, and then from here we're going to select Batman. You can see that I've been using Batman quite a bit today, and I've already leveled up to level 10. I'm about to work towards tier 11 in this menu here. From this section you can see there are a few perks you can select with Batman. There are 3 lower level perks, and then there is a signature perk. You can only select one signature perk per match. So now that I've explained that, let's get into the different types of perks that you can select for these mini sections right here. I'm going to go into train perks. The train perks menu will be available for you as you level up with Batman. In each section you have a known perks for Batman, and unlocked perks from other characters, and all other perks. The known perks are what you're most likely going to have as a lower level Batman when you're getting started with Batman. The unlocked perks from other characters are perks you have unlocked with other characters when you've been using them, and then there are the all other perks. Of course, there are 3 different sections here. You have the offense types of perks, the defense types of perks, and utility. Utility normally consists of things, for example, speed buffs, dodge buffs, and things of that sort. Now that I've explained the lower level perks, let's first start with the offense, and let's have a look at the best perks to use with Batman. Now the known perks that Batman has at the moment is hit 'em while they're down. Your team deals 5% increased damage when hitting debuffed enemies. A debuff is a status that can apply to a character, for example if they are being frozen or have ice decay, anything of that sort, something that puts them at a disadvantage, and that is what is meant by a debuff. Now the all other perks and the unknown perks from other characters, unlocked perks from other characters, sorry, you can unlock for Batman, and those perks can be purchased for the price of 100 gold or the applicable gold for that perk. For example, I've just selected up and a sleigh, and I can unlock this for Batman using 100 gold. You can see that I have 6,869 gold here available at the moment, so I could train this perk for Batman. Now that we've taken all that information into consideration when selecting the best perks for Batman, let's get started and select the best perks for Batman in the offense section. Now, Batman uses a lot of projectiles, including a batarang. His batarang is his main projectile, and it's really great to use. It has a long range on it, and it can apply debuffs to enemies. And this is why one of the best perks to use with Batman is going to be the hit 'em while they're down. Your team deals 5% increased damage when hitting debuffed enemies, but that's not the only reason why this is one of the best perks to use with Batman. The other reason is, in Batman's arsenal he also has a smoke bomb. When your enemies walk into the smoke bomb, they will also have a debuffed effect applied to them. So there is slowed that is applied to them when they're in the smoke, and there is a weakened status which is applied to them when they are hit by a batarang. And that is why this is going to be great for using with Batman, definitely the number 1 perk to use with Batman in this section here. Now the batarang does have a fast speed, it's very fast, but you could also select the dead shot. Your team deals 5% increased damage with projectiles. Now this is not one of the best perks to use with Batman, but it's also one to have a look at. Now, other than those perks that I've just mentioned in this section, I would say you can sort of mix and match with Batman, and it's definitely true to the character of Batman. What do I mean by this? When you're using that batarang and you're using that smoke and you're debuffing enemies, if you add another debuff effect to Batman, you're theoretically stacking different types of debuff effects that you can give an enemy. Now, this is great, because if you're using your batarang and your smoke, and then you're using your grapple hook to deal some damage, you're adding 3 different types of status effects to an enemy. That is absolutely brilliant. So for example, you could use That's Flammable Dock, you could add ice to this, the ice beat you, and this is where you can sort of play around with your build with Batman. But for the best perk to use with Batman in this section, I would definitely say the hit 'em while they're down, as you're adding that extra damage when you're debuffing these enemies using these Batman abilities. Now that we've covered offense, let's go into defense. As you can tell, I've been very excited using Batman because he is really cool to use when you know how to use him. So as I've just mentioned, you're using ranged attacks with Batman quite often, for example the batarang, once it's back in your possession. Now this is the key point. getting the Batarang back in your possession is cool, it works, and you're able to use it again quickly. But if you don't have that Batarang in your hand, or maybe you use your smoke, you will be running out of different abilities to use at points in time, and that really does sort of give Batman a disadvantage when you're using him in a situation where you need to get out of a pickle. Maybe an enemy is pushing you, maybe it's a 2-on-1 situation, maybe you need to use something in order to get out of the situation, which is not your grapple hook. Now your grapple hook is very easy to use. It is the forward and special move, the across, and special button. So depending on what console or platform you're playing on, that special button attack and pressing across either left or right together at the same time is going to give you a grapple hook, and you can aim the grapple hook. Now that's the move that does not cost anything as in terms of an ability use, but the other abilities that require you to use that ability cooldown is going to be the smoke bomb and the Batarang. Now, as I said, if you lose your Batarang, you will have that cooldown, which can be a punishing penalty. So let's have a look here at the best perks to use with Batman in this section here, in defense, now that we've considered that. Now, I see Batman as a perfect counter to Superman, and you can tell those two characters in Multiversus have been created with each character build in mind. And this is the reason why the Kryptonian skin would be a good perk to use with Batman in Multiversus. The reason for this is, if you're using your moves effectively, and you're able to use your Batarang, get it back in your possession, and you're also able to dodge moves, use your air effectively. What I mean by this is Batman has the ability to glide, so you can also use mobility there, and there is a lot of mobility with Batman just as there is with Superman. Kryptonian skin is going to come in handy when you've thrown your Batarang, you haven't got it in your possession, you've used your smoke bomb, you're on cooldown, and you have, of course, that mobility, that grapple hook. I would say Kryptonian skin is going to come in handy because it's going to defend you from incoming damage, not just projectile damage, but incoming damage, which is going to be extremely helpful. The reason why I've not picked anything to do with dodging is because you're able to get up in the air, use that glide, so you have that mobility with that, but you also have your mobility with that grapple hook. So I would say Kryptonian skin is one of the best perks to use with Batman in the defense section. Now we've covered defense, let's get into utility and have a look at the best perks to use with Batman. This is going to be really important. You're going to be using a lot of utility with Batman. Let's get into it. So as you can see, there are two known perks with Batman at this stage that I'm currently at. The ones that you are most likely going to have unlocked if you're an early level starter beginner with Batman. You're going to have Aerial Acrobat. Your team receives 10% increased air acceleration, 20% increased air acceleration if your ally also selects this perk. Then you have the Gravity Manipulation. Your team receives 10% increased fast fall speed and 20% increased speed if your ally also selects this perk. What this means is Gravity Manipulation is if you're pushing downwards to get down to the platform or dip underneath an enemy's attack, this is going to give you an extra speed boost as opposed to when you're doing this without this perk equipped. And of course, the Aerial Combat is basically giving you air acceleration. When you're up in the air, you'll be able to be slightly quicker in terms of your movement, which is great for Batman, especially when you're using your glide. Now, there are also the unknown perks, and let's get into the best perks to select in this section here when we've considered the two known perks for Batman. And the best perk to use with Batman, if you had to select one perk in the utility section, would be the Gravity Manipulation. This is because when you're using Batman's mobility in terms of that grapple hook that I've spoken about, and in terms of his gliding, if you press hold A in the air, you will be able to glide with Batman back towards the arena, and you can also use that grapple hook to pull yourself back towards the terrain. Gravity Manipulation is definitely going to come in handy when an opponent is chasing you up into the air. So Gravity Manipulation is definitely the best perk to use with Batman in this section here, but many of you will be very happy because the second one that I would select is not one that I currently have, but I'm going to train it now. It's going to be CoffeeZilla. Now, CoffeeZilla is definitely a fan favorite. Your team receives 10% reduced ability cooldown duration, 15% reduction if your ally also selects this perk. The reason why CoffeeZilla is great is because when you're using your abilities with Batman, and let's say you don't have your Batarang in your hand because you've missed a shot, it's fell off the arena, you don't yet have it, that CoffeeZilla is really going to reduce the amount of time it takes for your Batarang to come back into your possession. And if you're using debuffs with your projectiles, it's going to come in handy a lot, especially when you have such range using the Batarang. So definitely 100% CoffeeZilla is going to be one of the #1 perks to use with Batman, and that's the reason why I'm selecting it here. The other one, of course, would be the Aerial Acrobat. Your team receives 10% increased air acceleration. The reason why it's in the third spot is because I don't think it's really a top priority, especially when you have that grapple hook. Now, just before we dive into this signature perk here, let's go over the perks that we have left in my tiers here. I have the That's Not All, folks. Ringing out enemies while near the blast zone pushes an enemy back towards the center of the map. So basically, if you've just been rung out and you're near the blast zone and they're near the blast zone, they're going to be pushed back to the center of the map, giving you a chance to get that first hit in when you're respawning. There is also, that's one way you can use it, there is also the Up and a Slay. Your team deals 5% increased damage with attacks that knock back enemies upwards. Now, in terms of knocking your enemies upwards, Batman does have an uppercut in the air, and it can be very effective when the damage has built up on an opponent, so that's one to consider. And there is also the Slippery when faint. Your team receives 10% increased dodge distance when dodging out of an attack hit cancel. Now that we've had a look at all of the mini perks, let's get into that signature perk and select the best perk to use with Batman. And I am on the way to tell you that this is going to be the best attribute that you put on Batman, hands down. I went for, at first, the Bouncerang. Now, that's not the best perk to use, and let me explain why. Hitting your enemy with the Batarang while it's returning to Batman will apply maximum stacks of Weakened. Now, as I've mentioned, the Batarang applies a Weakened status effect. It debuffs an enemy, and when it comes back to you, because it does have a return to it when you've thrown it, when it comes back to you, it can pick up speed if you've charged to throw. But Precision Grapple is so powerful, it's ridiculous. Like, this perk here is definitely 100% the best perk to use with Batman. As soon as I started using it, I noticed a difference straight away. I was up against an Iron Giant, and I can't remember who else was on the team, but we were destroying them because of the Precision Grapple. This Precision Grapple, let me explain what it does. Batman's grapple hook emits a powerful blast when Batman arrives at his destination. However, it deals less damage and knockback while his grapple reels him in. Now, although there is less damage to that knockback and less damage when you're reeling in and pulling, basically going towards a destination using your grapple, it's still brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant, and that powerful blast at the end is well worth it, which is why I'm saying that this is the best signature perk with Batman. I will stand by it. It's not changing. This perk is brilliant for Batman. You can use your grapple hook for other purposes. You can use it to pull yourself towards the terrain, you can use it for mobility, you can use it to get up into the air. There is a lot of uses with that grapple hook, and that Precision Grapple definitely is well worth it. Definitely the best signature perk to use with Batman. Now that we've covered all this and we've covered all of the elements, all of the best perks to use with Batman, let's get into a game and I'll show you how this is done. Let's go with some Batman.
Who are you going to send in?
Are you using Batman's voice announcer as well? Let's jump in, Batman. We're going to send in you.
Justice doesn't sleep.
Tell him. We've got a Finn on the team. We're up against Bugs Bunny and Superman. As I said, Batman is a perfect counter for Superman. You can see which perks we're going to be selecting for this one. Keeping a signature perk. Using Hit 'em while they're down, Coffeezilla, and Gravity Manipulation. Let's go. Looks like everyone's ready. We're revealing the perks. They're using Triple Jump. Of course, with Superman, Superman can actually jump higher.
Started.
All aboard the knuckle train to Fist Planet.
Let's go, charge him up. That Precision Grapple was ridiculous, man. Oops, I hooked onto Finn. I need to get away from... Get away from me.
Taking it to the sky.
There's that uppercut. This Bugs Bunny, I'm trying to aim at Superman, but he's just...
I'll take a whack at it.
Sorry, Superman.
That'll do him. Slow him down a bit. Beautiful!
This is flippin' serious. I'll take a whack at it.
Get him! Get him! Get him! Get him!
I'm fine. Happens all the time.
You're not using kryptonite.
Nope, not using kryptonite. It's precision grapple.
Going up.
Oh, caught me.
Hope you've still got that Kryptonian resurrection.
The amount of damage it can cause. Get off!
Point for red team.
Grab it. Got me good that time.
Nice. What? Nice one, Finn. Good work. Keep it up. Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep going, Finn.
Match point for blue team. Not bad, Batman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Success.
That grapple precision is just so powerful. It's just so powerful.
I've lost count, Clark. How many times have I beaten you now?
459 damage, baby. Someone declined it straight away, and I'm not surprised. Those are the best perks to use with Batman, but if you have a different opinion, if you think there are other perks that are the best to use with Batman, do let us know in the comment section down below. We're here, right here on the Anthony Allen YouTube channel, and there's more where that came from. You can find more Multiversus tutorials, more talks on perks in Multiverses, and you can find that content on screen right now, including a Multiverse playlist which I've built for you. And don't forget, there's a lot more here. Subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and see you in the comment section. See you in the next video, and remember, you are awesome. Thank you for watching.